It is your Classic Metal Show right here on the ClassicMetalShow.com. That is heads, I win. Tails, you lose, John. All right. So we're back. Piss break over.
Look at Nathan in the chat room. I hate John Drake. Just putting that out there in the universe.
All right.
Well, you know who likes John? Coles. Coles must love him. You know, buying those pants there.
Who was that? Who was that in the chat room that said Kohl's sucks? It's a grandma store.
Kendall Peters.
Yeah.
Is it a grandma store? I cannot say.
It's just a department store. I mean, I don't shop much, so you know I've been in Kohl's, but it's just a basic department store. It's like what say like a Sears or a Penny's used to be.
Oh, is that it? It just replaced those.
Yeah, more or less.
So it's overpriced shit.
Well, I don't think it's overpriced. It's just a department store. That's all. Mostly clothes.
I have one store that I go to for everything. The store of Amazon.
Yeah, well, that's where I go. Amazon is the way to go.
Dude, have you heard that Uber is getting ready to launch a grocery service?
Uber, where they bring it to your door?
Yep.
Nice.
Love this. Love it.
I'll never have to leave the house again.
I'm never going to another store. The minute that Uber Grocery or whatever it's called is live, I'm done. I'll never see the inside of another store again, ever.
Sure.
Fuck that. Why would you? Why would you go if you could pay? How much extra? I mean, what do you buy for groceries a month? Just value-wise.
Value-wise?
$150, $200?
Let's see, 50, 100, $200.
If you could pay $220 for those same groceries, but not have to leave your house, wouldn't you do it?
Oh, absolutely.
Me too.
Dude, I spend $20 or $20 every other week just on car washes.
That's what I'm saying. So with that in mind, yeah. When Kohl's comes up where I don't have to go out, or Kohl's, or Uber comes up where I don't have to pay for or travel to go get milk or pot roast or whatever. Fuck yeah, I'm in.
Well, what's really funny is that if you ever watch any of those old TV shows like Andy Griffith and things like that, they used to have groceries delivered to the house all the time.
I know, and then they went away from that.
Yeah. So, the local grocery store used to deliver the food to your house all the time.
See, that would be great.
So it's almost like we're going forward in reverse.
Can we get back to having a gas station attendant too?
Yeah.
Dude, wouldn't it be great now? I mean, I've actually had this before, and I've paid extra for it. But wouldn't it be great these days? Just fucking pull up to the pump and say, give me a full tank of regular. Make it snappy, son.
Yeah.
And wash my fucking windows.
And check the oil.
Yeah.
Check the oil, check the tires, wash my windshield, fill my tank up.
What's it cost you to fill your tank?
$30. I usually catch it between a half and a quarter. So it's about, I got an 18-gallon tank. So at the current gas rates, about $2.15 a gallon. Yeah, it cost me right about $30 to fill up.
So if it was 30 and you could pay 35 and get all that other shit done, wouldn't you do it?
Well, if somebody wants to check the tires and the oil and wash my windshield and all that, it's worth a $5 tip, sure.
Would it be worth a $5 tip just to not get out of your car in the middle of winter?
In the middle of winter, yeah.
So I'm saying, I would do that shit in a minute. Yeah, listen, kid, I wouldn't even roll my window down. I'd be like, just point to the back.
You'd slip the cash through the crack.
Exactly.
You'd roll the window down about a half of an inch.
Yeah, exactly. I had to figure out a way to do that. They're going to have like Square or something so that they can run my card.
Yeah.
Cash, but yeah, I'm in.
Well, there's a car wash here in town, and they do the whole thing where they wash the car and then they get in there and vacuum it out and wipe down the door jambs and clean the windows inside and out and clean your wheels and all that for $20.
That's not bad.
And I give them a $5 tip, so it's $25. I don't do it every single week, but, to get the inside and out clean, and plus they put some air freshener in the car and the whole thing for $25. That's with tip. Yeah.
Dude, shit, it cost me $11 just to wash my car.
Yeah.
I would pay an extra $14 to get all that other shit done.
Sure.
Fuck yeah.
Sure.
Why not? But that's because me and you are fancy guys.
Well, when you're successful and rich like us, extra $20 is nothing.
Chump change.
I could give that to the homeless, but fuck them if they're homeless. It's their fault.
Yeah, get a job, you fucking lazy pricks. Of course.
Just heartless conservatives.
Yeah, just go over to Kohl's. They could give you a job letting John in and out of the fucking changing room.
Right.
That's got to pay something.
Sure.
John.
What? You spend extra $25 a month on washing your car? You could be giving that to the homeless.
Yeah, I could be, but I don't like the homeless.
Yeah. Maybe if I could get just an extra job and I have a little extra money at the end of the month, I might consider doing that. But I just can't seem to dig out that extra money.
Maybe I like just starving out the useless. Did you ever think of that? Just starve.
Right.
Just die.
Yeah, if you'd made better choices in your life, you probably wouldn't be homeless.
Yeah. Remember that time that you bought a fucking crack pipe instead of fucking studying for your exams? Okay.
Yeah.
Now you're dead. What an ass. Anyway, where were we?
Well, we before we took a break, you entered the venue and were greeted by Randy, the promoter.
I was. Okay, so I go to the place, which is a tiny place. It's the place called the Kent Stage. It's it used to be a movie theater, and as a kid, it was where I used to go, and I've told the stories on the air before about me getting thrown out of the movie theaters for, squirting ketchup on people and throwing food and shit.
And it was a life-changing experience for you at the Kent Stage, seeing the Blue Sky Riders.
Right, sure. But what it is it is an old theater that's been converted into a concert venue.
Sure.
They didn't even so much as take the seats out. They just took out the stage or the screen and put a stage in.
Right.
So, but it's a cool venue. It probably holds, 500, 600 people maybe. Maybe. I don't know. But it's a cool place to see a show. Every seat in the place is pretty close.
Yeah, it's an intimate venue.
Sure. Now, the way this place works is everybody kind of goes in, but everybody doesn't really go into the seats. Everybody just sort of hangs out. There's like a long foyer where people can come in and, they set up a little merch table and whatnot over on a wall, and everybody just sort of hangs out. And then you walk in further, and there's what used to be the candy thing, which is now the bar. And they sell beers, and they sell mixed drinks and whatnot, and you can get shots or whatever you want. And then as you walk past where that is, then you get inside the theater. Okay, and then it's all general admission seating, and you just go in and find some seats wherever you want to sit. So that's how this place sets up. So we go in, we get our tickets, no problems at all getting the tickets. Come in, and Randy sees me and comes over to me. Now, I recognize Randy because I've seen him on Facebook, but I've never met him in person. So he greets me, and he could not have been nicer. He's like, "Dude, I'm so glad that you came out. Thanks so much for supporting the show. It's really big of you." And I was like, "Okay, man, cool." I'm like, "All right." I didn't think it was that big of a deal. We're friends with Stephen. We like Stephen. We're going to come out, but thank you. And I thanked him for, the tickets and the passes and whatnot, and asked him about the passes. And he goes and he gets these passes. He only had 4 left that he hadn't sold, and he gave them to me and puts them on a, what do you call the neck thing?
Lanyard.
A lanyard. he puts them on the lanyards, and I pass them out to, my people that are with me, and I end up without one, but whatever, it doesn't matter. And we're just kind of hanging out. And and this is when it starts getting very weird for me.
Okay.
Because there was already people there, but there wasn't a ton of people there early. I mean, decent crowd, but people were still just coming in. Doors were at 7, so we got there at like 7:15 or something. So we were there fairly early. And yes, Jackal, it is the same Randy that was partners with Ripper at the Ripper's Rock House.
Yeah.
So we're in this place, and just people kept coming up to me, and I've been recognized. We've told the stories about getting recognized here and there,
right?
But I've never been recognized this much in my life, ever. Especially at some, back in the old days when I was doing WMMS, and I would the biggest show I ever did was the Pantera thing, where I introed Pantera at Blossom.
Right.
And I got up in front of 18,000 people, and I got people fucking ramped up because I did my normal, you guys are fucking pussies. You guys, we're going to bring Poison out instead of Pantera.
Sure.
And I got everybody booing and throwing shit or whatever, and I got everybody cranked up, which is the job. But that was the job. And then after that, you would come out in the crowd, and there'd be people that would be like, fuck yeah, dude, I love the show, or whatever. It was always like that. And okay, that was fine with this WMMS. But this is, I for better or for worse, I don't ever believe that the CMS is that big. I don't ever believe that it's that big of a deal. Yeah,
well, I mean, when you're used to broadcast radio that, is easily accessible in your car, or at work, or at home, or wherever it is, if you have some kind of an AM, FM radio,
right, you
could tune in and listen. So,
exactly.
So with the invent of streaming radio, you got to have a device of some kind, be it your phone or your computer or whatever it is that you listen to, but we've moved past to where everybody has that device now.
Right. Mm-hmm. And I guess I just never really believed that many people were listening to the show.
And I'm in the same boat.
I mean, I know we see the numbers, and I know we look at it and we're like, okay, 27,000 this week, or 22,000, or, whatever the number would be for the week. I know you follow it more than I do, but I was not ready for the attention that I got being at this fucking show.
Sure.
I'm in the lobby, and people just kept coming up to me. And I recognized a few, but I didn't know most. And people were coming up, and some of them were this one guy comes up to me and goes, hey, how you doing? I'm like, hey, how are yeah. I'll just admit, this is the one place that I am a fucking chronic liar. When you don't recognize somebody, do you pretend that you recognize them?
I don't know that I pretend that I recognize them. I try to be as cordial back to them as they are to me. Yeah. And then if it doesn't get to an uncomfortable point, or if they stick around long enough, then I might inquire as to, where do I know you from, or do I know you, or have we met before, or something to that effect, instead of just that flat out, who are you?
Yeah,
it's just like, have we met before?
I am ridiculous with that. Oh, hey, how are you? Oh, you're an old friend.
Sure.
And I need to stop it because it just fucking is ridiculous. But I had people coming up to me constantly during the show, and then they'd be like, you don't remember who I am, do you? And I was like, no, not really. I'll admit it when I don't know. And I had 5 or 6 people come up to me and just hey, man, how are you? And do you remember me from whatever? And I would be like, no. And oh, dude, I'm a big fan of the show, and I love when you blah, 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 whatever. Me, you, whatever. They like me, they hate me. They like you, they hate you, whatever. I mean, it was There was a whole stream of it, dude. I got in so many CMS conversations.
Sure.
Honest number, probably 40 to 50 CMS conversations. And people know everything about this fucking show.
Yeah, they remember everything.
I mean, most of the conversations are not about shit that is now. Most of the conversations are like, dude, do you guys remember when you had the fucking guitar player from Thor on? It's like, that was like 10 years ago. Wasn't that like 10 years ago?
Yeah, that was easily 10 years ago, yeah.
2007, 2008?
2006, I think.
Okay, so it's 11 years. I had somebody ask me about that segment. About what was his name?
Kushnick. Mike Kushnick.
Mike Kushnick from Thor.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, that shit was so funny, man. And, so it was just a steady stream from the minute I walked in the venue. People coming up, people loving the show. And I'm not wearing a CMS shirt or anything. Scotty was wearing a CMS shirt, but I was not. And people recognized me right away. And the crux of my existence comes to pass real quick because people start buying me drinks. Hey, man, you want a drink? You want a shot? You want whatever? And the funny thing was these guys were buying not just for me, but for like my crew too.
Yeah.
There were several people that I know Kelly drank a bunch of drinks. And Scotty, did you have any drinks that people bought? At least 3. The people were just buying, because they were with me. It was weird, man. And it didn't stop for the whole night.
Right.
So at some point, Billy comes out in the lobby, and you've been around Billy. There's always people circling around Billy. And Billy comes over to me, and then he stops talking to all of his people to take pictures. Like Kelly wanted a picture with Billy. So he stops talking to his people to take pictures with her or whatever. And he said to me at some point, he said, dude, I got a surprise for you later on. And I was like, okay, very cool. I don't know what it is, but I'm like, okay, cool. So it just kept going, man. And we were just sort of hanging out, and people just kept coming up to me and shaking my hand. And dude, I love the show. And, this segment, that segment, whatever. Fair enough. Finally, at some point, it got to be time for Billy to take the stage. So we walk in and find some seats, and within 5 minutes, Billy's on stage. And Billy comes out wearing the CMS shirt.
Very cool.
And was like repping the show. He's like standing up front and he's singing the song, and in between songs he's like pulling the shirt down.
Right.
Like people would see the shirt.
Sure.
And I was like, oh, look at Billy fucking repping the show for us. And it was just, I know that's cheesy as shit, but it was cool.
Yeah, it's nice. It's, for me, you being, well, and again, you and I consider us 50-50 partners.
Sure, of course.
But the fact is, I started the show 21 years ago, and for me to see that, or hear about it or know about it, that to me is just like, wow, that's very cool.
Yeah, and I mean, not that it was a huge crowd or anything, but it was 600 people seeing our fucking shit.
Sure.
I mean, I tell this story often. I remember Phil Anselmo wearing the Crowbar shirt in the I'm Broken video,
right.
And that's how I got into Crowbar.
Sure.
Was from seeing the shirt and going out the next day and buying whatever record they had. And in my mind, in today's world, somebody sees the shirt, they might look at the shirt and look us up, and maybe some will discover the show. Maybe some won't. I don't know. But, maybe we get more listeners because Billy hooks it up.
Right.
So we end up watching Billy play, and Billy played a kick-ass set. He was doing Warrant songs.
Yeah,
and,
I saw 2 or 3 clips of him doing, Down Boys and stuff. And
yeah.
You know what? I was thinking watching Billy do his do his cover, do his tribute, as it were. If Warrant hadn't found or hadn't hired on Robert Mason, he would have been a good fit.
Well, dude, there were shows when Janie was alive and trashed.
Yeah, I know how Billy basically stood behind the curtain there or turned his back or whatever and would do the leads.
Would do the leads while Janie was slobbering and they would turn his mic off. I mean, Billy has that voice. He fits it very well. So we watched Billy for like a half hour or so, and Billy played, I don't know, I think he played 45 minutes or something, but Randy, the promoter, had told us to come back at 8:30 and he would take us up to meet Stephen. So 8:30, we all go back and we're hanging out, and Joe Cleon was there. Joe, who's done the show with us before and is a well-known photographer locally. And Joe, so it was me, my crew, and Joe and one other guy that was with Joe that were all standing there. And Randy comes out and he was talking to the merch guy or something. And he starts introducing me and Joe as two legends. Legends. And, both me and Joe were like completely uncomfortable with that description, legends. And we both were like, come on, dude, whatever. And Randy just, no, man, you guys make this town go. I was like, what? What are you talking about?
You make this town go?
Make this town go.
Okay.
I was like, oh, okay.
We're the fuel in the fire.
Yeah, we're the fueler. But I was like, but we both tried to play it down, and Randy was like, no, man, these are the guys. I was like, okay, dude. Whatever. Which it was really uncomfortable at this point. And meanwhile, while we were standing there, more people come up and are like, dude, how, I can't believe you're out here for this. Dude, it never stopped. The whole night, it never stopped. Like I said it on Facebook, but it's the truth. I took at least 40 photos.
Sure.
Where people were like, hey, dude, can I take a photo? Hail and kill or hand job. A lot of hand jobs going on.
Sure. Lots of hand jobs being passed out.
A lot of hand jobs going around at this show. And it was like, okay, sure, I'll take another picture. What? I don't care. I was flattered that anybody wants a dumb picture with me. So Randy ends up taking us back. And you've not been to the Kent stage, so remember how it was at the Odeon where you had that upstairs?
Yeah, it was upstairs back of the stage or above the stage.
But you kind of had to go on stage to get up the stairs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Same exact principle, except at the Odeon, there was an actual room. In this place, you went up this staircase, and at the top of the stairs, there were, I'm going to say they were 3 closets that they turned into quote-unquote green rooms.
Okay.
But these were clearly closets. They were not big. They could not hold more than 3 people in any of them. So we get upstairs, and Stephen is standing there, and the band was all separated into these other little rooms. There was like 3 rooms total. And so everybody's all separated, and so meet Stephen, and I talked to Stephen briefly, and I thanked him for the hookup, and he was like, you guys are fucking funny, man. You guys are fucking funny. And I was like, well, thanks, dude. And I said, is there anything, and I was curious. I said, is there anything funny other than the Blotzer stuff? And he's like, well, I'm not gonna lie, that shit's pretty fucking funny, but everything you guys do is just funny. And I was like, okay, well, cool. I was like, all right, whatever. And so Stephen took some pictures, and he took a picture with me, and he took pictures with all my people, and was very cordial. And I took pictures with Joe's camera, of Joe and Stephen. And then somehow I ended up in one of the other rooms with Frankie Wilsey, who I did not know who it was at all. and the bass player, who I still don't know who that is. But I was talking to those guys. Those guys love the show. They're very big fans of
Sure.
the show.
That's what I was made aware of when I, saw them 3 weeks ago.
And I mean, they listen. I know you had said it a few weeks ago, but I'm not going to lie. I went there expecting them to say, oh, I love the fucking Blotzer stuff. I could see them digging that and not listening to anything else. These guys fucking listen to the goddamn show. It was really humbling, I guess, to have this rock band telling me how much they listen to our stupid shit.
Trust me, I was just as surprised as you were.
Yeah, but it was cool. So they did their thing, and then they ushered us right out because they had to do, they literally, we got out, and then Pearcy was on the stage. Like, it could not have been 5 minutes later.
Mm-hmm.
So we go out, we find some seats somewhere. We went out, before that, we went out to the back to the bar to get a couple more drinks. By this time, I'm in drink mode now. So we run into, I can say her name, can't I? Do you think?
Oh, Annette?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I can. So we run into our friend Annette, who, she's your friend, she's my friend.
She started listening to the show pretty much right after I started it. So she's been a 20-year fan.
Right.
So she lived local. I started the show on a small FM station right in the area. So she was a fan of the CMS from the very, very early days.
And if I remember right, she hated me at first.
Yeah, it's true.
When I first started coming down to do the show, she hated me.
Mm-hmm.
You always talk when I want to hear my songs.
Yeah, sure.
I guess that's changed. So she was, no lie, she was pretty drunk. It was her and her boyfriend were standing there at the bar. And she asked me, she's like, I got to get a picture. She was texting you. She was texting you.
And I hadn't seen or heard from her since like August of last year.
Right.
And she's one of these people who kind of comes and goes.
Right.
I'll go a long time, won't see or hear a word from her. Then out of the blue, she'll just pop up and hit me with a text. And then I won't see or hear from her again for another year.
Right.
So you're at the show, and I start getting these texts from her. I'm at Pearcy. It's like, yeah, cool. Chris is out there, too. Yeah, I know. I ran into him,
Right.
It's like, okay, well, enjoy yourself.
Yep. Well, she was pretty hammered. And she was showing me her phone that she was talking to you. See, I'm talking to Neely. And I was like, yeah, I do that sometimes too. I didn't know how to react to that. So I was like, yeah, okay, cool, So she's like, you got to take a picture with me. So I was like, okay. So she starts doing that thing, when the chicks like hold the phone over their head.
Yeah.
Because they don't want people to know that they're fat or whatever. So she's doing that shit where she's holding the phone over her head. And she had it set so that she could see the picture that we were taking. And I don't like to take just serious pictures. I take very few serious pictures. I like to fuck around when I'm taking.
You like to ham it up a bit.
I do. Whether it's making a goofy face or tongue out or middle finger in it or fists or whatever. I tend to take silly pictures. So when she started doing that, I fucking stuck my tongue out and pretended like I was going to like I was tonguing her ear or something. Well, she turned and starts Frenching me. I was like, what the hell? And meanwhile, the boyfriend is like standing right next to me. I mean, right next to me. And so this goes on for a second or two, and I pull back, and I'm like, whoa. And I look at this dude, and I was like, hey, dude, didn't mean for that to happen. and he goes, it's okay, it happens. And I was like, not to me, it doesn't. And Scotty made a good point. Him and I were talking about this yesterday, and he probably saw me and he probably saw Scotty, who's not a small guy either. I was like, yeah, I'm not going to fuck with this. Probably just didn't want the hassle.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we took this photo, which I have not seen that one yet. That one has not turned up on Facebook yet. for obvious reasons.
Sure.
But from that, more drinks, then Pearcy played, and Pearcy played a great set. He played like 90 minutes. He played probably the same set he played for you. It was, almost all Rat songs, 2 or 3 from Smash, a Judas Priest cover. I think he played some other cover too, but and that was it. And like 90 minutes and out. No encore. Sounded good. Sounded pretty good. Band sounded great. Steven sounded pretty good. I like sober Steven a lot better than I did drunken Steven.
Sure.
He sounds a lot better.
Right.
So, show ends. People all file out.
Well, you missed the most important part.
What's that?
About the shout out.
Oh, well, yeah. During the show, early in the show, Steven shouted out the show. He just happened to, he was like, I'm throwing this one out to the guys at the Classic Metal Show.
Nice.
I was like, hey, look at that. I think it was like Wanted Man or something. And I was like, look at that. A fucking shout out for us. Which was like very humbling and very like, wow. Who knew that this show was impacting at all?
Right.
But apparently it was. So he finished. He played a good set. Everybody starts leaving, but nobody really left. That was the weird thing, was like there was a lot of people that had these meet and greet passes to do the meet and greet. And then the people that didn't have meet and greet, I don't know how to even explain this. Like you walk out and it's like a hallway and there's like a merch table on one side and then like a smaller hall that people can go out, and then you walk through and you get to the doors, right? Well, people just started lining the walls, and when the band came out and started signing shit, people were there taking pictures of Steven. And it was crazy. It was like, well, Steven is definitely still a rock star. I know people like to say, the band is on the downside or whatever, but people still want to see Steven.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And so these people were just hanging out, taking pictures of Steven, signing other people's shit. It was weird, kind of. So we waited in line to get our shit signed, and we're walking through the line, and my friend Kevin had given me a book and asked me if I could get the book signed because he didn't have a meet and greet pass. So I was like, sure, I'll get your book signed, no problem. So I walk up to Steven, and he recognized me right away, and he was like, and I said to him, we were only supposed to get one thing signed. So I gave him my pass and the book on top of it. I said, come on, Steven, could you sign the book too? And he's like, yeah, I'll bet you're going to sell this on eBay, aren't you? He asked me who I wanted to sign to, and I said, nobody. I just want him to sign it. He's like, I'll bet you're going to sell this on eBay, aren't you, son? And I was like, yeah, because that'll be the difference in my multi-million-dollar project is that Stephen Pearcy autograph. And he just laughed. I was like, fuck you. But the funny part was, as we got near the end of the line there, we were sort of near the back of the line, I think. But we got near the end, and I ran into Eric Ferrantino,
right,
who I did not meet when we took pictures upstairs, like previous.
Sure.
Because he was in the one room that I couldn't get to. Like he was on the other side of this little tiny green room thing. So I hadn't met him. And as we came out, as we got in front of him, he's like, Mr. Aiken, how are you, man? And I've never met this fucking cat in my life. But he recognized me. I don't know if it's from the web or pictures or what, but he recognized me. And him and I got to talking, and dude, it was so fucking awkward because we're standing there and he starts just fucking yelling out hand job and fuck you, pal.
Yeah, that's what he did when I hooked up with him too. He goes, fucking hand job, hail and kill, fuck you, pal.
And it was like, everybody's looking around like, what is he yelling about? And I'm like, what is this show I'm involved in?
Yeah. Well, I had given Eric one of our shirts way back, I think it was like 2005.
Mm-hmm.
And he wore it on stage a lot.
Right.
And, since I knew that he wore the shirt back then, I figured, okay, it's been 12 years.
Right.
I'm sure he'd like a new shirt.
Sure.
So I brought a shirt specifically for him when I went to the show.
Okay.
3 weeks ago, and was able to give it to him. I said, you used to wear my shirt years ago. I said, I figure you probably need a new one. And he says, dude, when you gave me that shirt, I just thought it was a cool design. I didn't even put together what the show was or anything. Then I just started listening to you over a little year ago, and it was just like, it just sort of like dawned on me. It's like, oh, that's that shirt I've been wearing.
Nice.
So he goes, it just never registered with me what this was. I was wearing the shirt and I just thought, man, that's kind of a cool design. And it just kind of very rock looking, and I wore it, and then it just never put the two and two together.
Right.
He said, then when I started listening to the show, he says, then it just sort of dawned on me what it was.
Right. So crazy.
So I said, well, I brought you a new shirt. I said, I'm sure you could use one.
Well, and I'm sure you appreciated it because he couldn't have been nicer to me. He was good, man, and hung out for a little bit. And, it was funny because I felt bad because people were still coming up behind me and he was just signing their shit, but he wasn't like paying them any attention.
Yeah, he was just grabbing their stuff, signing it, and they move along.
Yeah, but talking to me the whole time.
Sure.
And I mean, overall, it was a cool night, man. Oh, I've never felt like that much of a player in this little dumb industry that we're in.
Right.
Honestly, and dude, and maybe it's naive of me, but I just don't think of it that way.
Well, I don't either. And I know periodically I'll catch a comment or two, like on our YouTube page or something, when I'll tell a story about, being recognized or hanging out or whatever. Dude, you got to get a grip on yourself. You need to face some reality, and that kind of shit. It's like,
sure.
but it's kind of overwhelming especially when you don't expect it.
Yeah. Well, I had no aspirations.
Don't you have any self-esteem, man?
Dude, I had no aspirations at all of being recognized.
Sure.
None.
Sure.
And it just kept happening for the whole night. It was crazy, and people buying tons of drinks and and telling every story and how much the show means to them and how they can't get through their weeks without our dumb shit.
I know, it's funny. Well, remember I told you that story when I went to South Dakota.
Yeah.
And I'm in the lobby, and some dude in the lobby is telling me how much he loves this show. And it's just like, I'm in South Dakota of all places.
Yeah, it doesn't. I still to this day think of this show the same as I did in 2006 or 7, whenever it was that I joined it. Which was, you moved out, me and you were bros. Doing the show gave me a chance to just shoot the shit with you. And that's it. And I don't think of the show today as anything more than, I don't know if you do, but I don't think of the show as anything more than it gives me and you an outlet to just fucking shoot the shit, which is fortunate for two bros that are, that live fucking 500 miles away. And people like it. Okay, that's awesome. But, whatever. If this show had 6 people, I don't think I would do it or do it any different. Do you?
No, not at all.
It would just be us fucking around. That's all it still is us fucking around.
Yep.
But great time, man. real quick, and then we'll move on because I'm sure people are sick of hearing this shit. But I do really got to thank Randy Earhart, the promoter. Wow, did he take care of me in a big way with the tickets, with the passes, with the hookup, with the, he had to waste his time dicking around taking me up to meet Stephen before he played and then after, and, took care of all my people and couldn't have been nicer. And he wants to do something with us in August, which sounds, actually, it's right up our alley. So it might be something that you come in for.
Oh, yeah.
So, he was unbelievably nice. Certainly got to thank Billy Morris. Unbelievably cool of him to wear our shirt, wear our shit, rep us. And of course, Steven and the band, man, they were very cool. And I'm not just, I'm not kissing their ass. It was funny because at the end of the night, they asked me what I thought of the show. And I said, yeah, it was pretty good, And immediately Frankie Wilson's like, I guess that means we're going to get trashed on the show, right? And I was like, no, it means that you were pretty good. If it sucked, I would say. And they both were like, yeah, you would. But they were very cool. Steven, of course, was very cool. Just overall, everybody involved, very cool. So, thanks to everybody that was involved for really taking care of me. I really appreciated it. And
well, our friend Nathan from Kentucky went to see Stephen last night.
Oh, yeah?
He went to the Cincinnati show, and I attempted to hook him up. I'm not exactly sure what happened since I didn't hear the, fallout, but Nathan had made shirts of Rat Lives Matter and apparently took it to the show and was able to give Stephen one of them.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that's pretty funny, but he didn't give me a real account of what happened. But, as those things happen, I can only do so much.
Sure. Well, dude, we're not in the band.
But Steven said he'd take care of it, but I'm not sure how it all played out. So I don't know if Nathan wanted to give his account of last night's show or not. But, he's free to call in and let us know what took place last night in Cincinnati.
Sure.
And then I guess Pearcy's played tonight in Toledo at the Rock the Arena show.
Yeah, that's at the Savage Arena.
Yeah, well, I was there last year.
I was invited to go today, but we had the show.
Yeah, so I went last year, and Lita and Dawkins and I think Firehouse and Trickster and Warrant and Bobby Blotzer's Rat and, all that happened. And
right,
we were back at the hotel, and that's when Steve Brown from Trickster and CJ Snare.
Sure.
Boy, they were both just blasted. Just blasted at the bar.
Right.
It was funny because those guys were just wasted.
Nice.
But the whole big arena show, that's the one your friend Matt went to.
Yeah.
And I invited him back, and he was just like, nah, I don't want to bother anybody, and all that kind of stuff. It's like, dude, meet me by this entranceway and come on back, Right. It's all right. Don't worry about it. We're cool.
Dude, I'm closer to that. But I mean, you know me, man. Most times I just give my passes away. I'm not big on meeting the bands that much either. But, this was Thursday was one of those nights that I just kind of wanted to. Honestly, I didn't have a picture with Pearcy, so I wanted a picture with Steven.
Sure.
And that's pretty much the only reason I actually went out of my way to get one.
Yeah, unfortunately, Joe Cleon was there with good camera equipment.
Yeah, he took a great shot, actually.
And you took a good picture of him.
Might as well have. He had his camera set on some fucking crazy setting.
Yeah, blast.
Dude, he told me, he said, just push the button down halfway. I was like, okay. So I went to take the picture. I was like, God damn it. I took like 40 pictures. And he was laughing because, it had a flash on it.
Uh-huh.
And the flash was going off like a fucking strobe light. It was like, and the flash was all going off. And Pierce was like, what the fuck are you doing? And I was like, I don't know. I'm pushing the button.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do. So, but yeah, I saw he gave me a photo credit. I was like, you don't have to give me a photo credit. But I have nothing but positive things to say about everything involved on Thursday. I was treated like a rock star more than I've ever been before. I appreciate it. Probably never happen again, and that's okay if it doesn't. But man, it was pretty fucking cool. That's all.
Well, the photos that I saw look like you had a great time. I'm glad you were able to go, and I'm glad everybody treated you well, and it was a nice experience for you.
It really was, man. Totally class.
Sure. So what happened to you, Nathan?
I didn't have quite the Chris experience, but I did have a very good time. It was a very good show. So
how big was this place? You were right up front, weren't you?
It was a bar and grill. I mean, it literally was just a bar. I mean, it was maybe packed 300 people in there, maybe. It was north of Cincinnati in like a little strip mall. I mean, it was pretty tiny.
Wow. And
it was full though. It was full.
You had to drive almost 100 miles?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Not too bad.
About 100 miles from where you live to Cincinnati.
Yeah. It wasn't too bad.
So you got up front there, and Stephen recognized your shirt.
Yeah, I was during I had made these, and maybe I'll post a picture here in a little bit on the chat room. But I made these shirts that said "Rat Lives Matter," and so I was kind of walking around the crowd. People were like, "Oh yeah, that's cool, man!" A bunch of drunk lunatics, of course. But yeah, he did. At one point, he looked right at me and he said, "Nice shirt, man." and then he walked back, toward the middle of the stage and started singing again or whatever it was. But he definitely pointed me out. But yeah, I was never able to find anybody to give me a pass or anything. I mean, it was like I talked to like 50 flipping people, and nobody had a clue. And I was there at like 7:00, and that's why I was texting you. Nobody had a clue. Nobody knew what was going on. So it was just like, well, whatever. They caught me a ticket and let me in. So thank you, Neely. I got a free ticket out of it at least. But yeah, they have, like Chris was saying, the whole meet and greet thing. And if you don't have a pass, they won't let you anywhere within 50 feet of that guy. And so I had to kind of wait around to the very end as he was leaving, and I kind of stopped him real quick and just kind of gave him the shirt. Cause I tried to throw your name out, and he was he was gone. He's like, I was like, hey, Wendell Neely, Classic Metal Show, and he said, yeah, what can I do for you? And I'm like, well, I just wanted to give you this shirt, man. And, I kind of held it. I was like, oh, that's cool, man. Thanks. He's like, hit me up on my website. And then he just took off. But it was all good, man.
Yeah.
No, it was all good, man. He did it. It was a good show. I mean, it really was. It played 16, 17 songs, I mean, it was a pretty good time. He sounded good. We've all heard the bad, the recent, he's had some bad stuff here recently, but he sounded really good. And the crowd was small, but everybody was into it, and they even liked the new songs. A lot of the people I was standing around actually knew the new stuff.
Wow.
Which surprised me, because, nowadays it's like, oh, God, he's going to play the new stuff. Oh, God, let's go to the bathroom and get another beer, Nobody wants to hear that, But he sounded good. I mean, it was a really good time.
Good.
Well, I will say this, though. I don't know if either one of you, if he played Janie at either one of your shows. Did he play that song either one of your shows?
I don't remember if he played it or not.
He did at mine.
He butchered it. I mean, the whole band was. I mean, it was like they started it off and they was like, "Well, we're going to try to play Janie," and he came in at the wrong time and just butchered it. I mean, it was horrible. But other than that, they were great. I mean, that band has probably been playing those songs just as long as everybody else has. I mean, Warren and those guys, they know it just as well as all the rest of them.
Sure.
I mean, they've played them for decades, probably. Most of those guys have been with Stephen for forever, haven't they?
Yeah, I know. Well, I know Eric's been with them for a long time, and Frankie obviously was with them, all the way back in the arcade days.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No.
So yeah, they play well. Eric pulls off a great DeMartini.
Yeah. He's just kind of a dumb-looking mohawk, but yeah, but he does. He plays almost all the leads, and he's like spot on, man. I mean, and you know, the sad thing is, like you guys have talked about before, is it clearly said on your ticket, Rat Stephen Pearcy, right?
Right.
And standing there talking to people thought it was Rat. Like I remember, I'm in the bathroom and some guy's going, "Dude, I can't wait to see Warren, man. They're gonna kick ass. I love Warren DeMartini." And it's like, dude, this is not Rat. It's like, don't you understand?
No.
You know, and people are stupid, man.
No, they're just fried, man. They're just fried people. That's why Blotzer can go out there as Rat, and a lot of people don't know the difference.
Yeah. I mean, I was in the crowd and talking to some people, and there was a guy that knew me through the Rat Lives Matter thing. He was a guy in a band, and he was a guy who followed me on the Twitter, and you know, when I posted some stuff on Twitter saying I'd be there, and so he posted me back and said, "Hey, man, if you're going to be there, look for me." So I was talking to him for a few minutes, and then we got to talking about some things, and some guy was like, let's say, something about, there's 4 original members still left, and 3 of them are in one band, and 1 of them are in the other, and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, "Was this what this is tonight? Is this the 3 original members?" And I'm like, "No, this is not." It's not any of those guys. This is just Steven with his solo band. And it's like, don't you even know what you paid for? You know? So there's a lot of stupid people out there, man. But it is what it is. I gave him a shirt. Hopefully he didn't pull an Eddie trunk and throw it away like he did with you. So hopefully he actually held on to it, because he really only gave me about 15 or 20 seconds. And so I gave it to him and showed him what it was. And he's like, "Oh, cool, man." And he kind of went on his way. So, but yeah, they had probably about 50 people pay that VIP $75 package. And I was really surprised. Even so, I was trying to get, when I went up to the thing and was talking to the guy, the club owner, and he's like, "Man, this is probably going to be capacity." He's like, we got like 50 people that have paid for VIP passes, and it was just like, wow. Like you said, Chris, he's still a rock star, man. People still want to see him.
They do. It's crazy, because you would think at this point, when you're playing a room for 300 to 600 people, that it would be like, okay, guys should be happy if people are buying him drinks at the bar. But no, he is still every bit a rock star.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's not on the same scale that it used to be, but yeah, people still want to see him. And he came out and ripped into like 4 straight Rat songs, and got the crowd all riled up with "You're in Love" and "Lay It Down," and lack of communication, and people were just digging it, man.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was really surprised that people knew the new stuff. The people I were around at the front of the stage were singing along with 10 Miles Wide and "Hit Me With Your Bullet" and some of the new stuff off of there. So that was kind of surprising. So
it's good stuff. All right, Nathan.
Cool. Appreciate the hookup. Like I said, maybe you can give Steven a buzz, and hopefully he didn't do an Eddie trunk and throw my shirt away. So.
All right, hail and kill.
Time to move on to a different topic. Hail and kill. Fuck you, pal. Hands off.
People will never forget that.
Nope.
That Eddie trunk, just tossing the shirt aside like it was just.
If you weren't so jealous by living in your mom's basement of Eddie Trunk. That's the persistent thing that always comes up. That you're jealous.
Yeah, I am jealous.
You're jealous, and you're living in your mom's basement.
Yeah, I sure am. All right, well, let's play a couple of tunes, and we'll come back.
All right.
Here's some arcade. This is Cry No More exclusively here
on your classic metal show.